earlier this morning, and honestly, in terms of picks and bans, nothing's really changed. The big thing that we've been talking about backstage is the idea of playing around rotations and moving around the map and resets with slightly different timers. You're going to be on different item spikes. Whether you want to swap early is a debate as well, because of course the grubs don't spawn as early as they used to.
The changes which have come through, I don't think we'll see the fruition of them right now. These changes, when you have like grubs moving from 6 minutes to 8 minutes, the difference in the herald spawn timing, that will be discovered in a little bit. We've got a little bit of time to sit on these patches. Maybe Casey will show us some changes through that as we get through to our first couple of bans.
And we do. Maokai, Varus, and Talia taken away by Karmine Corp. No real surprises there. Rumble and Neferi removed by Rogue. They have leashed the dog, and alongside it, Canna's Jace. No surprises from either team, in my estimations at least. Looks like pretty conventional bans with a couple targeted at certain players.
Now, are we going to get something like that Vi picked up early with the Talia ban? Azir feels better. Can also go towards the Yone as well, and they can pair up nicely with something like a Sejuani later on.
Yeah, Yone will be locked in, likely going towards Vladi in the mid lane. Can, of course, still be flexed top, although we're seeing a lot more Yone mid.
I don't see Knock on the Rift here, so I don't know.
That is true. Azir the pick into it alongside Sejuani from Malrang. So already very standard drafts from these two teams. For Karmine Corp, the question is, well, you don't have an AP top laner apart from the Gwen really left available. Do you want to pick the Gwen here to make sure it's not banned out in the second phase? Or do you go AD top with an AP jungler? Lillia for Yike, something we have seen a couple of times this split.
And sometimes you can get away with full AD. I don't think you do that into the Sejuani. So that is not something you want to do, and that's why the Lillia comes through. Very fitting for our Spirit Blossom as well. Yone and Lillia both at home on that one. Very strong mid jungles for both sides. Long range carry for the side of Larssen, one which he has made an absolute career out of on is Azir. Legendary pick for him, though it's fallen on some sadder days, I suppose, with Rogue's recent hard times for Rogue's recent splits. And that is the Lillia Misfortune combo as well. Sleep goes into the bullet time. The bullet time, for some reason, does not wake you up.
Yeah, it's like being in the Matrix, okay? You have to be pulled out of it. You can't just wake up of your own volition. But if you die in the Matrix, you do die in real life as well. So that Spirit Blossom bullet time combination, very, very powerful.
Dodge this.
I can't, I'm asleep. The Azir, as you say, for Larssen, his most played across the course of his career. 50% win rate on it all time, just under his all-time general win rate of 50.4%. He's got 72 games on it. For Patrik, we will see the Jhin Ice had an absolute stormer of a game one against Fnatic on this Jhin. I think maybe changed a few people's minds about the power of Pro Jhin.
I think in the last year, Jhin has been hyper-carrying games in a way, which I just haven't seen from this champion for many years. No, it's not the case anymore where you're always against double, triple tank and you just don't have the staying power. I mean, right here, you have 3 squishies, one of them being in the jungle, which is often where you see one of those tanks. You can ban out the Alistair, maybe ban out the Leona as well, and Jhin has very little front line to stop him.
Yeah, really you're looking at things like Rell. Nautilus can be a tanky pick, but isn't a tank.
Yeah,
and
for
then
the first 4 levels.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You know, just get Aftershock off. What are you talking about? But yeah, I wouldn't mind the Leona ban. Was buffed slightly on this patch as well, with the passive having a slightly longer duration and her Q costing less mana. And there's the Renekton ban. So Karmine Corp just trying to remove some of the easier picks for Adam in that top lane.
Rogue, I think there's another angle they could go towards as well, because they already have some engage already from the Sejuani and the Azir. You could even go towards something like a Braum, the owner is banned, and say, look, you want to pick something like that, Rell? All right, play it into something like an anti-melee support, like that Braum coming through. Makes it a lot easier to fall back for your double long-range carries, right? Very much setting up for the front to back.
Yeah, interestingly as well, Braum can actually intercept the Lillia because it's a projectile. So yeah, it just sends a little seed at the opposition, and that lilting lullaby doesn't quite work out the way the Lillia would want it to. I wonder if Karmine Corp have thought of that. Maybe a Braum ban here could be on the menu.
Oh, it's all about top lane.
Yep, instead will be the Yasuo against Adam.
That's a Gnar angle if I ever did see one.
You feel like it's going to be Gnar, don't you?
Yeah, to the point where I'm thinking, Adam, the thing is, normally it's like, well, save your support counter pick because it's so important to get ahead of Caliste and Targamas, blah, blah, blah. You do have Adam on your roster. They lock in the Rell, they take that away from the Misfortune, so now maybe you are locked in something more like Khan, Nautilus, the 2 last picks available to you. Notably, not that heavy front line, and then Canna will have to blind pick in top lane.
Likely going towards that Gnar with the Renekton and the Yasuo bans. For Karmine Corp, I'm wondering if there's anywhere else they could go. You could look towards a Braum of your own if you really wanted to. Intercepts the Glacial Prism relatively well. Poppy? Could be Poppy top.
Okay. I mean, I would imagine that's just a Rell lane counter.
It's
also,
good into the Rell lane, yeah.
And Poppy is a good laning support in general. What this doesn't do is add much to your wombo combo with the Misfortune. You're just hoping that the rest of your team, particularly that mid jungle, can help with that too. And Canna, we've seen him do despicable things. Won the title, of course, on that Gnar as well.
Yeah, so you do still have enough wombo combo in the rest of your team that the Poppy doesn't have to facilitate it too much. She also allows you to disengage fights if you need to with the Keeper's Verdict. Rogue and Mbessa would be okay into the Gnar, but I would worry later on into the Poppy whether or not you're just going to get locked up there for a while. Instead, it is Aatrox for Adam. Second time he has brought that out this split. Adam actually going through a ton of champions so far this split. I'm just having a quick count. 5, 10, 13 different champs? That's pretty impressive.
That's a hell of a lot. I would imagine that's one of the most wide champion pools in the league.
It would be more impressive if they'd won on them.
Okay, don't consider that tone of voice.
Put that out there.
Jeez.
But he has won on Aatrox. 100% win rate on the one game he played.
Wow, sample size. KC have a good wombo combo team comp. They have very good side lanes too. The Yone and the Gnar both able to bully out opponents if they get ahead. And also, Yike is an extra carry. This Lillia, very unique in the way that she can carry the game. KC, if any one member gets ahead, I think they've got a good ability to kind of flex around who is powerful on the Rift. Rogue on the other side, they really need their backline to be strong so they can kind of hold up their end of the bargain while the front line tries to buy them that space.
Yeah, the concern for Rogue is if they do start falling behind, who's going to match a Yone in the side lane? Who's going to be able to deal with the threat of even a Gnar in the side lane, who when he gets to 2-3 items can become pretty difficult to deal with? The Aatrox from behind doesn't have as much team fight power. You do have good CC. You've got Sejuani with a non-committal Glacial Prison. You've got the Rell as well for that follow-up, but Targamas will be on his A game. He can stop that Rell from finding those engages. On to the Rift we go for the second series of week 6. Only 5 days left after today of the LEC here in spring, or at least of the regular season.
So, planning to enjoy, of course, with the new patch coming through and the wonderful visuals as well. We're feeling blue, but in a good way.
Yeah, not blue hubbity rubbity, but instead, it's just a blue man.
I do miss when we had all of the blue man group and Rise just flinging blue stuff everywhere. Blue Dabba-Dee Dabba-Die,
Exactly,
that was a fun one.
But the thing with Blue Dabba-Dee Dabba-Die, I can't remember the name of the actual song or who sung it, I apologize to whoever it was before the era of the internet being commonplace. And so you'd be on like a high school playground, or you'd be like just going into university or whatever, and you'd be like, I don't know what he's saying. And everyone would have their different interpretations of what he was saying.
Did you have the MP3 of Linkin Park's Numb on your phone?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Good things.
Good old LimeWire. Wonder what's happened to that since.
I wonder what they are. I hope they're doing well.
They're doing fine. Let's go back onto Summoner's Rift to have a quick look at what is happening early doors. A couple of wards being placed, nothing too consequential. We see a few people with biscuits as well. Patrik and Execute deciding that biscuits are the name of the game in that bot lane.
Yeah, it's just a snack for the road. It does help you a little bit to have that laning phase still, but much less powerful than they were. I think we were definitely getting to that point where it felt like biscuits were turning around mid-game fights to the point where junglers who would normally have no use for them were actually taking them in that card as well, so they could win one fight in the mid-game with an extra 200, 300 health turnaround. Yeah,
the fact that it scaled off your missing health, if you use it like 5% HP, you'd get up to 200-300, as you say. It was very difficult to deal with. Nothing too surprising in terms of lanes. It looks like Yike is going up towards the top side after clearing his Razorbeaks and his Krugs, whereas Malrang will be pathing it down towards bot, starting on his red. Caliste taking a little bit of a trade here, but Patrik's also been chunked down by the Karmine Corp bot lane.
Yeah, so, of course, in a couple of levels, Poppy will be able to stop the easy crash downs. You have to play more about the mount-ups around that Rell. And the level 2 comes through. Control there, and that's important. They have control over this bot side as Malrang's making their way down towards bot side, which of course means that Yike can't do anything around the bot side. They didn't plan to anyway, but it's just nice to have everyone kind of synchronizing waves and the jungle pathing.
And there's always the risk that Lillia, although her first clear is not the speediest, it is slightly quicker than a Sejuani, so she could have looked for an invade. If you had the push, you could go in and try and steal away that blue, but that's not going to happen, as you say.
I had a really strange deja vu moment where I remember Team Shadow Dogs Unleashed, and was it Tarzan in their jungle, like explaining that a 5-second clear speed difference is enough to get a gank off successfully. Yeah. That was just some weird locked vault of a memory I had there. But yeah, clear speed can be very, very important. A little bit less important when you have the jungle starting on opposite sides of the map, going towards the other side though, because they're not actually interacting that much.
100% agree with you there. And it looks like not really much interaction happening across the map. Only bot lane has seen any...
introvert League of Legends, my favorite.
Hey, look, just don't perceive me. That's my dream way of being, as the Ignite goes down on Targamas, but he'll be able to walk away. Execute stepping on the buckler to make sure Targamas couldn't walk forward and get the shield. Both the summoners, both the Ignites being burnt by our supports, but it's much ado about nothing.
So, the big thing, though, which we haven't learned yet, and we'll be watching these games because they're the first ones on the new patch, is how do people move around first resets of the game? Do you swap as a bot lane if you feel like you're not getting the best of it early? Do you wait until a little bit later because Grubs now spawn at 8 minutes, not 6? There have been a couple of player interviews over in LPL who played on this patch in the morning. I think it was Beichuan, who's just joined BLG, saying it's much more about the early laning phase now because you do have that extra couple of minutes where it feels like people don't want to leave lane as much, but we haven't learned enough about that just yet to have conclusive results.
We've had so many debates backstage, like, oh, if you swap a 4-minute timer, but then you want to swap
but
back,
then who's driving the bus?
Exactly. We have no idea. Schrodinger's lane swap for now, okay? It is both dead and alive. And as much as Riot try and kill all possibilities of lane swaps, they do seem to keep coming back to life. Caliste is stepping a little bit too far forward. We'll have to use the cleanse. He was a bit greedy in his positioning, trying to get a trade onto Patrik. Knows that Yike's on this side of the map, so if Patrik and Execute had overextended, Yike could have immediately run across instead of doing his Krogs.
Does he have any pots ticking right now? No, so he's sticking around really on low HP and just really hoping that there's no fourth shot from Patrik to flash forward and kill it. I do get a little bit spooked out when they get towards that low ammo, but it should be okay for now with Yike coming down and on vision. Rogue know the score.
Yeah, Targamas stepping forward, just pushing Execute back. Not really much going to happen here. Yike's just covering for Caliste and Targamas to make sure that he can get this push out. Does mean he's delaying his jungle clear a little bit, but his Razorbeaks haven't respawned yet. He did just do his Krugs, so... Oh no, did he do Razorbeaks into Krugs? He must have done, because he started Razors. So he's already cleared his bot side, and he'll be back up towards the top side by the time his camps are respawning.
So this is the time where, you know, last patch, bot lane would be running top instead.
Yeah.
Normally, most of the time anyway, because it's a minute before the Grubs would have spawned. Now it's 3 minutes instead, and as you can see, Miss Watching go back towards bot lane. Rell holding down the fort. Well, not Rell, the other one, Poppy.
Poppy is holding down the fort.
I saw the champion icon, like, oh yes, that is the blue side. No, it's Poppy.
It's Poppy. It's Poppy. It's interesting though. We were talking a little bit about Yike spending a bit more time down towards the bottom side, could path towards top to get his clear. He's decided not to do that. He's instead playing down towards this bottom side, pathed out towards the dragon, maybe trying to see if the dragon was being taken by Malrang. But Malrang's got a full clear off in this time, so he's about 2 camps ahead right now. It's a small advantage, but these things can compound because Malrang will hit 6 first. He just needs another camp and a half to get there. Vladi being harassed down by Larssen in the mid lane. The extra range the Azir gets, especially when he gets towards level 6, can just make it very hard for the Yone to trade in effectively.
It's 10 CS up too in the early levels. Larssen doing really well in the early laning phase. Malrang shielding in that push. Canna has walked in towards mid lane instead, and he's going to be walking across the place. We now do actually see our AD carries heading towards that top lane. It's a 6-minute mark.
And Canna's just like running down towards bot, but must have done his TP to get to top lane. Adam TP to bot lane, so overall, just a nice exchange for Rogue, as Yike is going to force Execute down to about half HP, but there's a few different steps in there with Yike spending more time bot side, Malrang being able to do a full clear. He could then shadow mid while Execute goes for the engage, and there's the knockback! And Vladi thought he was safe, but he just wasn't. Rogue get first blood.
Great pounce onto the Yone by Execute. It's going to give Larssen the ability to push in that mid lane for another wave, lose some CS towards that Yone who is already down, doesn't have the teleport, won't be able to immediately reset. What this is really going to lead to is a bigger mid lane advantage.
He's going to have a large lead as Larssen gets that kill, as well as Adam is yeeted back by Canna. Does still have the flash, will pop the World Ender as well. Gives him that extra movement speed, can trade back in onto the Gnar, but Yike coming around the corner with that Oracle's on. Targamas going in for Execute, will get Shadowing Strikes. The Aftershock and Execute won't be enough, but the shield from the crash down will. Ignite was ticking, and Execute gets out in the nick of time.
Patience, the name of the game there for Execute. Times out the steadfast presence and won't get blocked with his dash out. Ult now coming through from Patrik. The Execute dash from the ult does hurt. Where's the fourth shot going? Not enough. Oh my god, I was about to say not enough to kill, but it got close.
I mean, we've had both the AD carries being low and then both the supports being low. It's some sort of symmetrical mimicry here in the top lane between, between the bot laners in the top lane, I guess is the best way to phrase that. Malrang coming towards mid. Vladi does still have the flash. Steps forward, steps back, and dodges the Winter's Wrath. The Grubs are up in about 10 seconds time. 8 minutes, the new spawn timer for those, as we've mentioned a couple of times here. Only 3 Grubs spawn throughout Summoner's Rift now. If you get 2 of them, you'll have some mites and you get the objective. If you get 3 of them, you have a little bit more damage from the true damage burn that you put on when you use those auto attacks on towers or spells.
Yeah, 2 is enough to get you the feats of strength, worth noting as well. Just that 1 stack, which can occasionally be valuable there too. Yike has level 6. Red side, typically worse for taking the growth because you're stuck against the wall. And your choke points are a little harder. Let's see if KC can do anything about that if they want to. If they can, there's the wall stop.
Targamas goes in, there's the bullet time follow-up into the bait, sealed. The combination perfect from Karmine Corp. They'll lose their support, but they've killed the enemy jungler, and Yike should be able to secure these grubs.
Salad, your worst enemy when taking grubs is this line there. The wall stun comes through. Magnificent wall stun from Targamas to set up the play. And now will be all 3 going towards KC. Might secured, and that first stage of the feats of strength there for them also valuable. KC using the terrain to their advantage.
Really nice stuff there from Targamas. Good engage. Execute looking for Caliste, who has the flash and has the cleanse and has Yike on his way across. There's the cleanse invested. With Yike coming across, Patrik and Execute decide they don't want to go any further on the play.
So Rogue, they stumbled a little bit there. I think they would have felt like they could have fought a little bit better, but it's one of those problems of playing against a Poppy. Sometimes you think, oh, I don't want to get close to the melee champion, but then you realize by walking back, you've just put yourself closer to a wall. Not exactly the place you want to be either versus a Poppy. KC take the advantage there. And, you know, KC have not had the best early games in their recent run of form. When I think of their 2-1 series and their last 2 series out, where we were wondering, actually, you know, are they still our top team? Because by that point, we hadn't seen Fnatic and G2 stumble in the same way. Blushes were spared. But it was their early game, I think, often called into account the most. This was a little bit of a better sign here. Still behind, but a good spot up there towards the grubs.
I mean, generally, at 15 minutes, Karmine Corp are about 700 gold behind. Good. Melting Lullaby here. We'll get the sleep. They follow up onto Execute. They wake him up a little bit late, and they'll manage to get the kill. A couple of tower shots tanked there by Yike, but even with the Ignite, it's not going to kill him. The curtain's open. A TP's coming in as well. Targamas tanks a shot. He'll die to it. Beats go over to Rogue, at least a beat of Warfare, as Larssen goes in for another. Caliste will fall. Larssen gets his 3rd of the game.
Great accuracy from Patrik on the ultimate. Gives enough damage to turn around some kills. So, feats of strength for the Warfare part of it. Claimed by Rogue. Haven't claimed up the total one so far. It's a little bit concerning that the Gnar is starting to get some gold in that side lane versus the Aatrox. We will have to keep a close eye on that matchup. We'll go back to presumably what happened in this top side. Yeah, biggest thing which I noticed at the start of this play was Patrik's flash. Yike is looking for the Q flash, doesn't get it onto the Jhin. If that happens, I think just the damage coming through would have turned around this play. Potentially an extra flash draw from the Misfortune could have killed Patrik. So that starts things off well enough, so at least Jhin can fire back, using the very last of the mana to get all 4 shots on target. I mean, Targamas, good job body blocking for your AD carry, but they don't survive either. Did his part of the job there, but Caliste couldn't make it out safely.
Yeah, Caliste did still have the flash there, but there's always the risk of just Larssen flash ulting you back, and then you don't have that summoner for a future play. Rogue with about 1,000 gold lead, 11 minutes into this game. A lot of that concentrated on the Azir. Bird the word for Larssen here. 3-0 with the Nash's Tooth already complete. And as I was saying, Buff, and you were talking about before the fight started, Karmine Corp on average about 700 gold behind at the 15-minute mark. They do really struggle throughout the early games.
And particularly when you have Patrik, hang on, there might be a fight coming up here, big rotation. Do they back up when they see Execute? No. Here comes
TP behind, bait sealed onto 2, Glacial Prism going wide, Vladi very low, but he'll snap back. Targamas now stunned up, there's the bullet time. Only really going to clip onto Execute. Adam coming into the middle of the fray as well with that teleport. He'll find one, good Gnar onto the back wall as Canna looks for 2, and he'll find him. 1 for Yike, 1 for Canna. And in the end, Rogue cleaned up in the top side.
Canna misses flights, does not miss ulties, gets himself a great amount of kill participation in that top side. And KC, with the 3 grubs, will be able to take at least another plate here, probably the whole turret, with the next wave coming in. And you know what? It's not 15 minutes yet, and they've just got ahead in gold, despite our worries before that. They've gone from 500 gold behind to 700 ahead-ish.
You're saying they're going to lose about 1,500 gold in the next 3 minutes? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. We're going to have a little bit of a mountain range here. Up, down, up, down.
It will be fun. We'll see if Rogue can oblige us with a little bit of a comeback, because right now they have fallen into that hole, as you say. 1,000 gold lead for Yike alone. Leandri's complete on him. He is in a very strong spot. Patrik getting forced out by Vladi, who just puts his soul back in his body and clears out the wave with the support of Targamas. Next objective you have to feel will be this Drake. It's been up since the 5-minute mark, but neither team has really wanted to focus around there for now.
No, it's been much more about that top side. Pretty much every fight's happened in the top side. That's where the bot lanes were kind of pushing and pulling against each other. Patrik Good accuracy so far. Goes back to the first item collector. Canna just going mini. That could be a problem. Forces the flash.
Oh, he's just going to knock up on it because there was a ward on top of it, so he kind of walked forward into it, and then the Infernal Chains will lock him up. Really nice ward there from Execute. You can see it was autoed once by Canna. He then walks forward, trying to auto that Blast Cone, but just trampolines himself up and down.
I mean, you've heard of wards save lives. Apparently they take them too. Good kill that. As we were saying, we were keeping close eyes on that top lane matchup. Canna was getting value. Adam gets a kill back. That's important. Dragon now not started. Misses the flash.
Yike with a fancy feet, though, might just look to go in. Blooming Burst not quite going to connect onto Patrik, so he walks away. Yike will have his flash up in a couple of moments' time and has that Loathing Lullaby, but I don't think we're going to see them get in for the Drake. Keeper's Verdict was channeled, and Targamas doesn't find a target to deem guilty.
So Rogue get themselves their first objective, which is the Dragon, compared to the Grubs on the other side. Well, all this is happening as well. You do have Larssen safely getting farm in the side lane. He's got himself 3 kills, so even though this number doesn't look that good, these items looking very good for this point in the game. You know, that Nash's Tooth allows you very good pressure in the side lane. If you are left there, you can start whacking it out, do even more damage to it. And Rogue have a team comp that want to play front to back later. Yeah. You protect this Azir, who has a lot of gold on it. We said even just coming out of Champs Select. If the backline of Rogue gets ahead, that's scary for KC. They'll have to dive through the double tanks onto them somehow, especially when they're doing so much damage.
It's going to be a worry for Karmine Corp to get on towards that back line, but Yike is in a really strong position on this Lillia as well, and when you have your flash on Lillia, you always have an avenue onto the back line, right? Just flash, Blooming Burst, and then Blooming Blows, in fact. Blooming Burst is Nico's Q.
Yeah.
I hate they're so close.
Do you miss the days of Unstoppable Onslaught, Unstoppable Force?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbreakable Will.
Somewhere the Dragonborn says Force, Unrelenting Force.
Oh yeah, sure. If I could just shout Fusra Darwin every team fight, I'd be happy. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a Dragonborn.
Sorry, y'all. We'll overlook at this once.
But yeah, Karmine Corp kind of, they evened out the gold, where they've taken that little gold lead, but it's been relatively stable for the last couple of minutes. You can see Yike starting up the Rift Hold here. Rogue have done a good job of reacting to the fact that Yike is going for these objectives. He's kind of just plucking his passive to get that extra movement speed as Malrang walks in, but isn't really going to find much happening.
So again, we will draw your attention to the fact that Poppy has Flash, and there is a wall right here. We need to be very careful about those choke points if Poppy's in the area, which she is, with Flash. Targamas can get some really nasty damage down. Rogue needs to be careful of the terrain they're in.
Interestingly, I think Adam's TP is just about to come off cooldown, so teleport in from Canna, put some pressure on that bot side tower. Rift Tower secured. Vladi is on the wrong side of the Rift right now. His Execute will lock him up. Bait sealed. Glacial Prison going wide, but the Emperor's Divide does not do so. Vladi will be the first to fall here. Unbinds his soul, but still goes down. The bullet time and Loathing Lullaby finds 2. Malrang falling lower. Adams, though, still very tanky with the World Ender coming out. And Rogue will try and turn it around. Adam stepping forward. Curtains open. Yike, the first target. He'll eat 2. Keeper's Verdict knocks back 1. But Adam continues to chase forward. Yike has to flash away and will escape the clutches of Adam and Larssen.
So it's 2 for none and the Herald over to Rogue, which they managed to pick up as well. I was a little bit worried they wouldn't be able to pick up the Eye. They do get that. And as we go through into the replay, the biggest thing to note here, KC are late. They are late to the play. They call in the teleports anyway. And Vladi was kind of waiting for the rest of the team to engage so he could have a better angle. They don't get that engaged. So he's left out on the other side, and the pincer gets snapped open instead. Rogue, very reactive, very quick reactions to them to split one side of the fight, reform the battle lines, and take another kill.
You can see Karmine Corp just thought, well, with the bullet time Loathing Lullaby, maybe we can take out Adam before he pops the World Ender. Maybe we can kill off Malrang, but don't quite have the damage, and the gold swings in Rogue's favor. A minute and a half too late for our statistics.
Damn, whatever shall we do?
Yeah, we'll have to start tracking at 17 rather than at 50, and I think Nymaera to keep the narrative alive. But still, for Karmine Corp, a little bit of a disappointing last fight. They're in an okay position overall. You've got Bloodthirst to complete, Blade of the Ruin King, Triforce complete. Like, they're strong. The risk is, though, Larssen has a Seekers, already has the Nash's Tooth complete. There's a Sundered Sky and Adam. Like, they're not going to be pushed out of side lanes too easily. And I think one of Karmine Corp's big power points in the mid game was their pressure they could apply inside.
For sure, I was just about to highlight those points as well, because not only the sidelines, which you completely right at, because I mean, you have a Yone and a Gnar with 3 grubs. They want to be hitting towers. Now, not only can you get that in the sidelines, once you go into the big fights as well, the Lillia sleep is not going to be as impactful onto that stasis of Larssen, who's getting a lot of gold. He is getting a lot of free time. He's free to farm whatever he wants, and Canna's caught out in side lane.
It's the Flash trying to get away from this one. Mega Gnar a long way away in the permafrost. descends into an icy grave. Rogue have 9 on the board.
Rogue are doing really well in this early to mid-game. They're finding good picks. They're getting gold onto their carries. Adam is not falling behind in the split push matchup. Canna almost even in gold now with a matchup that's supposed to be ahead. Rogue playing well, and this is so important for them. This is on death's door for them. If they lose this series, technically they're still alive in the playoffs race. It's very, very hard though. They need all the help they can get. So winning games like this, potentially, we'll see if they can convert it into anything. It'll be so important. Targamas to spot out Malrang going into the bot side turret. Herald spawned down there as well. Slams in, gets half the inner turret HP.
Yeah, importantly, if they win this series, they have 8 ways of making it through to our playoffs without tiebreakers.
7 more than they need.
Yeah, they then have 476 ways of making it into our playoffs with tiebreakers, and about 540 ways of not making it through tiebreakers and all. Yike almost falls for the keeper's verdict, gets the knockback, but now you can't really fight. Oh, did you see that? Patrik channels the curtain call. Someone aggroes the Drake. Patrik gets knocked out of his curtain call. Slight miscommunication there, perhaps. In fact, it may have even been Patrik aggroing the Drake with the curtain call.
Yeah.
Still, Rogue get the dragon, they'll be happy. And it's their second dragon of the game. Vladi trying to defend the mid lane tower. Will do so, clears out the wave before Rogue can get any demolished procs off on it.
And as we're going into this next stage of the game, again, we talked a lot about side lanes. This is pushed up. This is starting to get pushed up as well. You're contesting in the mid lane, and there is some wards around the place on the blue side, but this is not where KC want. They want someone to push out one area, black out the vision, and use that as a staging post to stop Rogue from safely farming up, sitting chill, and walking towards the objectives later. They have 2 dragons. They're happy with that. They're not behind in gold. They're not under threat of the split push. Rogue are playing towards their comfort of this composition right now.
See if they can start to play a little bit more towards that. Importantly, for anyone who didn't watch the first series of the day, Fnatic, well, I can do spoilers, but on the LEC broadcast, it's not really a spoiler.
It was literally the game we had
It was literally 30 minutes ago. Fnatic won, which means Karmine Corp are qualified to playoffs no matter what. They are playing for position now. If you get first position, you get to choose your opponent and you get double elimination. 5th and 6th do not get double elimination. So fighting for at least those first 4 spots, but first gives you the best chance to make it through playoffs because you get your pick of the litter. TP coming in from Karmine Corp here as Canna joins this topside play towards the Aatrox.
This is the new Aatrox, of course, Thornbound. It's not getting contested as it seems right now. Rogue letting this go. Will say, from the games I've seen of this, Aatrox does not feel as immediately powerful. That's a good wall stun.
Yeah, a kill does help you, though, in making it a little bit more powerful. And Karmine Corp will find it. Great stun into the wall. Follow up from Canna with the Gnar. Overall, I think they got about 14 extra petals from it, as Adam is going to be TP'd behind here. Overall, they're about 38 right now. They get 1 extra petal every time they find a kill. Vladi TP behind Adam. Adam TP'd out after taking the tower.
Yeah, so from what I've seen on the current patch, a lot of people are just giving up the Aatrox if they have better position elsewhere. They don't want to give up lives for it. Of course, it's nice, but it feels like a win more objective. We haven't seen all of the implications about this because it is a new patch, but this is what happens with it. Basically, you get more petals. Your petals are more valuable, which means you get more XP and the adaptive force. And also on a kill, you get a little blast around the enemy that has been killed, which we actually just saw on the screen there when they kill execute, which gives a slow and some damage as well.
And you also get a petal if you kill someone.
Yes.
Which is, you know, that little bit of experience and adaptive force.
Rejoice.
Oh, it's so happy. It's spring. We've got the lavender, we've got the tulips, we've got the spirit petals. What more could we need?
I like cherries. Cherry blossom.
Cherry blossoms, yes.
I think that's very spirit blossom.
I would say, you know how you get people bouquets sometimes?
Yeah.
Getting them a bouquet of just cherries rather than cherry blossoms would perhaps not the most advice.
If someone wanted a sweet
treat. If they like
treat,
cherries, it's true. It's true.
It's a little treat as well as something nice to look at.
Perhaps a fight in the mid lane? Patrik stepping forward. Across the wall comes Malrang. Cleanse out from Caliste. He'll survive. Good knock into the wall there as Adam tried to get in the middle of the fight, but he just can't move at all. Adam will fall. Larssen dives in. The Emperor's Divide does nothing at all as Rogue walk away with their tails tucked between their legs.
Yeah, both summoners out of Caliste, but it's not the kill. Rogue overestimate themselves, and Adam finds himself right next to a wall against the Poppy. Targamas being pivotal to most of the picks which Karmine Corp have found so far, and this will also open up the mid lane turret as Rogue have to seed that. Yeah,
Targamas has been involved in every single kill for his team, even keeping Malrang a little bit interested as he started up the Wolves. Vladi jumps in, Patrik flashes away immediately. Curtains open, Canna can block this all though. More about dissuading Karmine Corp from going for more than anything else.
Feels like it's a big momentum shift, actually. A lot of gold just lost there. A lot of positioning as well. because when you lose that mid lane out of turret, you lose a lot of the ability to defend vision into your own jungle. You can't, well, look at Larssen, you can't walk up to the same level that he was before. It was a good angle from Rogue. They very nearly picked up Caliste, but sadly for them, the implications of losing that play, heavy.
See, goal basically even between the two teams now. Next Drake up in a minute's time as Rogue will be looking for it. Will be Soul Point, Infernal Soul Point as well. With an Azir and with a Jhin can do a lot of work in a team fight. Caliste now with no summoners for that dragon fight either. Let's have a look at where we are in terms of flashes. Only Patrik has his down on Rogue, whereas only Canna has his up for Karmine Corp.
Which means that Targamas has got to be doing overdrive on disengage for his AD carry. I think if the MF goes down too easily, it's a big problem. Kind of taking some damage off for Execute though, that's important.
He's going to chase him down here. Gets the Gnar into the wall as well, and Execute just wasn't with his team. Karmine Corp find a pick before the play really even begins. Drake up in 13 seconds. They'll try and get control over the mid lane, but the problem is with the Glacial Prison carving out, the Emperor's Divide follows up. Caliste stepped a bit too greedily forward. Larssen with the Zhonya's and flashes away. Through the Loathing Lullaby, he survives, but the Fate Sealed will mark his demise. Adam with the World Ender just trying to retreat now as Karmine Corp have found 2 off the play in totality.
So carry for carry traded, Dragon is still alive, and when you have the Lillia, the objective damage is never a problem. So that will be Dragon going over towards KC. They delay Soul Point, and Rogue, who we had assumed would feel a little bit more comfortable, and we've gone to our bigger objective fights, don't really set up that well for them. And you miss out on another important play. Canna's now jumping on Patrik.
Patrik has no flash here as well. Targamas just looking to knock him into the wall. The chase continues. Patrik's dead. Canna gets the kill. And that's 2 times in quick succession that someone from Rogue has just been totally mispositioned.
And that's 2 times in a row where Canna has been the one to punish them. Yep. This guy's like a second jungler playing on the mini Gnar. Finds Execute as he's looking to set up vision around the play. Greedy with his flash, perhaps. Ends up getting taken out very, very easily. The rest of the team nowhere near. If you're a support, you do need damage somewhere near you to make sure that you can set up for them if you're the one that's picked up. Larssen goes in, does end up picking up Caliste there, but he's out of position after that point. Uses the Zhonya's and, well, basically can't escape the extra mobility for the Yone after that point. So all you've done then is traded for carry for carry. You don't have the DPS advantage.
Overall, Karmine Corp coming out on top of the play. They have about 1,500 gold lead now. 2 items on their carries. Riftmaker, Leandries, and a Seekers now for Yike as well. Makes that Flash Blooming Blows combination a hell of a lot easier. As Rogue actually only at 2 items on their carries as well. So nowhere near as strong as they'd like to be. Larssen with only about a 150 gold lead after having such a strong start to this game.
They do have the feats of strength, which gives them some extra stats, but it's just...
Boots were slightly buffed on this patch as well.
Yeah, it's not really enough to make them feel good in this situation right now. Rogue have got to be kicking themselves, because they were in a great position for multiple parts of this. We're saying, hey, look, this is a really comfortable point for your composition. You can play around objectives, you set up well, you're not losing in side lanes. A couple of bad picks where KC have been very opportunistic. I think that Vladi and Canna doing very well to jump forwards and follow up on plays which have presented themselves, have brought KC into a good point. And you know, it's a sign of a good team to be opportunistic even when you're behind the story, behind the pace of the game, to potentially get back into it.
KC have had a bit of practice doing that this split. The last few series haven't been as strong as they'd like them to be. The Glacial Prism coming out onto Targamas. He doesn't get an opportunity to move. Meanwhile, Canna jumping in. Goes Mega a little bit too late. Magnussor's going to chase him down. Loathing Lullaby onto Execute will spell his death as Rogue begin to retreat. So far, we're 1-for-1. The supports have fallen. Yike still chasing in. But won't go any further. Curtain's now open. Yike jumps back. Clipped by 1. Vladi stands in front of the 2nd and the 3rd. Or the 3rd and the 4th, in fact, and Karmine Corp will be able to walk away.
And get yourself a mid laner like Vladi, puts his body on the line for you. What looked like a good pick onto Targamas is not a clean pick. KC, again, rallying to the defense well. I think they are responding well to the opening play, something which I thought Rogue were doing better earlier in the game, but I think they're starting to lose the idea of what these skirmishes are midway through them. I think that they're kind of jumping at some plays. They're not calmly sitting back and realizing, look, we have long-range carries we can peel back. We don't have to be jumping at every opportunity.
Yeah, sometimes you find with a team that hasn't won that much that they get to a mid-game, late-game point and they're like, okay, we're in a good position here. Let's force it. Let's just go for every play we see. Let's over-invest if we lose a player. Let's not... If we think a fight is lost, we'll send it all in because otherwise the game's just going to be lost. We've lost so many games from this position before, right? And it feels a little bit like that for Rogue. Perhaps a few regrets sneaking into the players. Caliste flashes and cleanses away. Execute no longer has the flash, but he has backup. Yike and Targamas now on the front line as the chase continues. Keeper's verdict channeled, but it's a helicopter at best as Targamas cancels it in the end.
So getting the cooldowns out of Caliste is important. This is so much where it's summoner economy, right? This is down, which means that someone like this, or like this if you're in the right position, can use that overlapping cooldowns, where you don't have it, to make a big play around, say, the dragon in a minute and a half. Doesn't lead to much right here, but maybe this is an investment of that Rell flash to catch out Caliste later.
Yeah, one weakness for Rogue is they don't have a teleport up for that dragon unless Adams will be... well, they have Larssens, but they don't have 2 teleports, that's what I'm trying to say.
Your mom lets you have 2 teleports? Wow.
Well, you know, I try and go to McDonald's on the way home, and she's like, "Oh, we got McDonald's at home." You know, so,
it was teleport at home, like TF4.
Flash.
Yes, you can teleport. It's a very short location. Wasn't there that guy that's found a way? How long? Hang on a second. On the top side.
Oh, Vladi going in. Pops the fate sealed. Goes in with the soul unbound. Chases Adam down, and Vladi. Whew. That was nice.
While you were using flash, he was studying the blade. Gets himself a kill on that top side. Vladi solo kill. Takes Vladi, Adam's flash off the board too. Important tool down. Rogue now out of position on that side lane to set up for the next couple of plays around the Dragon and the Baron.
Targamas trying to chase Malrang out of the jungle, puts a little bit of vision down. Karmine Corp will start up the Drake. Canna recalling in the bot lane, likely has an item, does have that teleport. Instead, decides to TP in immediately. Malrang, though, can sneak in here. Swellseed goes down. Vladi dives forward, Keeper's verdict knocks out Malrang, and Karmine Corp will secure the Baron for themselves. The chase continues as Canna's looking for execute once again. Yike going forward. Swellseed into the Magnustorm pullback. Larssen's coming in from the side here as well as Canna gets the Gnar into the wall, but the follow-up just isn't there for Rogue. Yike continues to step in. And it was a 2v4 for a while there. Karmine Corp get out of it. And Yike just waltzes away.
Really clean Baron take from Karmine Corp.
Yeah, it was nice.
Starts off with an opportunistic solo kill on the side lane by Vladi, but then KC immediately just say, all right, we can disengage the jungle with a pop, the ult, clean take, and Rogue, they're completely behind the game now. They are now going to have to deal with the side lane push, which has actually come online. Now is Vladi, he might go for another one.
Yeah, I think Adam's got to be careful. I think Adam's dead. Q3 lands. There's the World Ender. Vladi has the fate sealed back up and has the flash, and we'll just, oh my god! Oh, I've seen less clean combos in Tekken, man. That guy just absolutely demolished him. Then dodges away. Permafrost onto him, though. Larsen's chasing him down. Vladi will die in the end, but he got a TP, a flash, an ultimate out for it. And all the meanwhile, his team is taking Drake and taking names as they secure 2 tier 2s.
Just cut the clip a little bit short. You can chuck it in the montage. Vladi really playing well individually on the Yone, and Rogue falling apart a little bit now against the Baron buff in the other lanes. One turret falls, the second one will fall down here, and Rogue, it just doesn't feel like they have the setup to pick anyone out of position. Targamas is protecting Caliste on the bot side. Canna, too hard to take down in that mid lane as well. Has a hull breaker for even more tower damage. Rogue, there was a moment in this game where they felt like everything was going to plan.
And then minions spawn.
My dude, that was okay. We can at least give it like 15 minutes of really solid
Yeah, it was solid. It was good. 17-minute mark. They were 1.5k ahead. They were in a good spot. Just had to play team fights.
Yeah. Good singer, though. Good singer.
Oh,
but yeah, it did feel like they were playing towards their champion identity. Then I think the mid lane dive where they tried to catch Caliste, that's where things really went awry. The ads count, I think you can forgive one overstep. That one which they really went for that mid lane play, though. Things fell apart. That's on them. I don't think it was necessary, and it fell. The game's just fallen off after that point.
Yeah, it really has. They have put a lot of emphasis on killing off Caliste. You can see he hasn't got a kill yet, right? He's had a couple of times he's had to burn flash and cleanse, and then the rest of Karmine Corp very willing just to come in and defend their AD carry. Yike having a storm over game as well on this Lillia. 5-0-3 with a 3.5.
Not okay.
1,000 gold lead. Yeah, it's not the best.
Yeah, this is what's happening in the jungle matchup right now. Yep. It's, you're not allowed to see it. That one's it's verboten.
That's his verboten. Yeah, Yike on his Lillia is always a delight, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He knows exactly the limits of the champion. Rogue here trying to defend their remaining 2 inhibitors. The mid lane one will spawn in 3.5 minutes, but guess what else spawns in about 3 minutes? It's a Baron and an Infernal Drake. And Rogue aren't going to be let to leave their base. in that time.
Trying to play around some of the vision around their base. But how do you defend from this? You have to push up lanes. Feels like if you go too far, you get caught out. Adam's trying to force something.
Oh, Larssen going in as well. Canna not quite Mega Gnar yet. Does get the Mega Gnar. Larssen pops the stopwatch. Magnet Storm comes in as well, but Larssen goes pop first. Canna's going to die as well, with a follow-up coming out from Karmine Corp. Vladi misses the fate sealed, and because of that, his fate is done. Adam finds two, double-looting Lullaby, though, from Yike as he chases in. Watch out, Eep! Adam's going to fall to Yike with the Leandries. The curtains open, and Patrik quickly shuts them, realizing Karmine Corp are looking in. Malrang's going to fall. Karmine Corp will walk away. 4 for 2 the exchange, and the Nexus in their eyes.
It all looks fine until the other carry turns up. Yike brings the 3,000 gold lead to bear, and Karmine Corp will look towards the Nexus.
We wondered how they bounced back after a week off, while Karmine Corp have shown the blue wall is as tall as ever. 1-0 against Rogue.
There was a little while in that game where KC were made to think, to stumble a little bit. Rogue had a good start to this game, but it really didn't feel like they could last more than that time.
Oh, we'll see if they can last longer in game 2. We're going to go to a short break. We'll see you right after this.